Okay, so I'm in my room for this one, and I may be in my room for future ones going forward. I don't know. Or I might be in my office or something. Point is, this might change. Today, I'm watching, if you haven't seen from the title already, Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. I vaguely remember this one from my childhood, but I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea what I'm gonna get into, but it's 90s cheese, and my dog seems to be excited to watch it with me. So, hi. Hi, Maki. You want to say hi to our viewers on YouTube? I guess she just wants to sit here and cuddle. Anyway, I'm gonna watch this show, and hopefully it's good. Okay, you're pushing me now. Okay, okay. Okay, so that was the first episode. A lot of it was a lot. Do you mind? Lay down. Okay, so the first episode of Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. I was surprised at how accurate they kept to the books, in all honesty. The method of Sherlock Holmes dying, the fact that it wasn't his last story, it was all incredible. And, like, Sherlock Holmes is a legit detective. We haven't seen a whole lot of him actually detecting things, but what we have seen is very clever, especially for, a 90s Saturday morning cartoon. So far, I liked it. I hope I continue to like it. We're going to see, I guess. Okay, so I finished the first disc of Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. Honestly, it's a thing. It is very much a product of the 90s. Like, very much a product of the 90s. Also, excuse the background noise. My dog is chewing on something. Probably her bone. I should probably make sure it's her bone. But yeah, like, it's very much a product of the 90s. You can really tell. I'd say the biggest problem I have with it is like the really stiff animation. But it's definitely a Sherlock Holmes story. Like, it feels like a Sherlock Holmes story, which is really good because, like, it, it's it it's a good job of feeling like a good Sherlock Holmes story that isn't that's made for kids. That's a good entry point for kids to get interested in this sort of thing. And I really wish a lot more shows would do that sort of thing. I mean, especially now that we're, like, in the age of remakes and adaptations, why don't we do more for, adapting classic literature? Because I think that would be a great way to get kids interested in that sort of thing. And, as a product of its time, this show is doing that very well. I've still got one more disc to get through, but so far I like it. I mean, it's not going to win any awards for anything, and it's kind of superficial in how Sherlock Holmes, in like how much it covers from the original series. But, like, that's also kind of to be expected. All of Sherlock's original adversaries and mysteries are 200 years old by the start of the series. So, I don't know. I like it. But it's not going to win any awards. Like, that's my takeaway here at the halfway point. Anyway, I guess I'll see you when the series is over. Okay, so that's the end of Sherlock Holmes. Um, no real series finale this time around, which is disappointing. I was hoping for like a series finale where they like led up to what Moriarty's been planning this whole time, but it seems like halfway through the series they just decided he's a villain of the week plot device. He's just a guy that pops up every once in a while. It does seem like the show got canceled before it really had a chance to get a running like a through plot for like the entire series. But I mean, it wasn't bad. I don't know. I guess thoughts in the wrap up.
Okay, so Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. What can I say about this? Honestly, it was alright. I can't say it was actually terrible. It was actually pretty good. Considering everything it had against it, it was actually pretty good. I can't say it was really terrible. But the animation was not very smooth. There were points, I have the DVD copy too, and there were points where it looked like it was pixel art, which probably was, given the time frame, and this is the 1990s. It was, I think, like, what, late 1990s, early 2000s was Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century, maybe even earlier than that, I don't actually know, but it was interesting. All of the episode titles seem to be named after stories from the original Sherlock Holmes, not novels, but stories, which I thought was nice, except for when they didn't really have much to do with the actual anything that was happening in the episode, but, I mean, they were great. It was a nice touch. However, Moriarty, I feel, was criminally underused. Moriarty is one of those characters that is supposed to be this big, looming threat, but other than, you knew his name, it never really felt like Moriarty was actually much of a threat throughout the entire series, and I feel like that's a problem, especially with a character like Moriarty. I was always waiting for his master plan to be revealed, and then the very last episode came along, which was anything but a season or even series finale, and I was left kind of disappointed. I wanted more. It didn't even, I don't even think the final episode had anything to do with Moriarty himself, which was also a disappointment. I mean, like, in the beginning it was really good because they kind of hyped up that Moriarty had this big master plan, little things that he was doing in one episode connected to something he did in the next episode, but then they went through like 2 episodes of that and just kind of abandoned it. And that's not good. I really wish that they would have kept that sort of storytelling going. It was fun. It made me feel like there was this big, looming, overwhelming threat that Moriarty posed, and they had to stop him, otherwise the fate of the world was at stake. But then he turned into cliche cartoon villain number 4, the Snidely Whiplash twirling his mustache as he tied the damsel to the railroad tracks. It was bad storytelling. I'm sorry. Like, you could have used this character so much better. That said, the original Sherlock Holmes stories weren't really so much a overarching narrative epic story. They were more a collection of short stories that had fun and interesting mysteries that were published in a magazine. So, obviously, they were kind of trying to keep to that, but I really wanted to see that overarching plot. Like, another problem I had with the series is what they decided to keep and what they decided to throw away. Obviously, this being a show for kids, especially in the 90s, they threw away with the whole Sherlock Holmes is a heroin addict thing. And I don't really blame them for that. But at least for the first couple episodes, did something just fall next to me? I saw some lint fall. What the? Where did that come from? Anyway, at least for the first couple episodes, Holmes was a sexist. And I get why they kept that in, kind of. Because he's from a time where that was prevalent, where that was common. But he was also from a time when being a heroin addict was common and widely accepted. So you kind of get my problem here. If they're going to take out one thing that's problematic, why would they intentionally leave in that thing? And it's not that I have a problem with them addressing sexism or racism in the show. They did it very thinly veiled, but enough for a kid to sort of get the lesson without it being hammered over their head. They, touched on racism when it came to Watson. Watson is a robot. There's this group of people who are anti-tech. Racism metaphor is established. But they didn't even really go into Holmes being sexist. It was like they wanted to mention it, they wanted to reference that he's from a time when this was okay, but they didn't actually want to deal with any of the implications of that actually being a thing. And so that as a character trait was just thrown out the window after one or two episodes. It was not great. I mean, if they wanted to actually make it a part of his character that he had trouble with, respecting women or something, that would have been great. They could have had an Irene Adler character come in at some point. There was a lot of ways they could have taken that and still have been a 4-kid series, still have, taught that valuable lesson of you need to respect people regardless of their gender. There are ways that could have been done well, but nobody at this show wanted to take the risk of touching it. And it seems that was probably the course of action to take, considering it didn't even get picked up to continue the series that it had, let alone another season. All in all, I'd probably give Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd Century a good, 2 out of 5. It's not the worst show you'll ever watch. If you want to give it a watch, you can buy the DVD copy on Amazon. That's the only place I could find to watch it online. I couldn't find it to watch it online. I had to buy the DVD copy, but I'll see if I can put a link to that in the description if you want to buy your own copy and watch through this series yourself. Good luck. But yeah, that was my review of Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd Century. I know I didn't have a whole lot to say about it this time around. I vlogged only 2 videos, but it was a really short series. I think it was maybe 20 episodes long, if that. So I didn't have a whole lot to say. There weren't major character developments like there were with Toradora, so I couldn't just interrupt the series when something important happened, because really nothing important ever happened. But do you want to see more videos where where there are less of me vlogging my experience to the show? Do you just want me to do the wrap up at the end? Do you want shorter videos? Let me know in the comments. It will really help me out. I'm in a bit of a tight place right now. If you want to know more about that, I did a whole bunch of videos on TikTok. It's the ones with me in a green My Hero Academia shirt. Go watch those if you want to know more about it. I might make a compilation, put it up on here. And if you want to help support me and the channel and, help with things like paying my rent and eating food, then good ways to do that would be to subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Leave a comment telling me how much you like this, telling me what kind of content you want to see from me in the future. let me know how my videos are doing, whether or not I can do better, what things I can do better on. Please leave polite comments. I ask you constructive criticism only. I'm begging. But yeah, let me know what other types of things I can work on. That's what I'm really asking for right now. If you want to get 15% off anything in my merchandise store, from die-cut stickers to beach towels, use the code RP3P and that should get you 15% off anything in my merchandise store. And if you do buy something, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have no idea how much that really helps. Also, I have a Patreon account, but I am going to ask that you only subscribe to the first tier of Patreon. There is 2 other tiers, but one of them isn't ready yet, and the other one is having technical issues. I'm trying to figure out how to get these videos to Patreon viewers a day early. That's one of the perks of subscribing to the second tier of Patreon, is that you get all of my YouTube videos the day before they come out instead of the day they come out. The problem is I can't upload the videos directly to Patreon, so I'm thinking I might just email the video to people, but then again, the emails might not be able to handle the video size either. And so I'm trying to work out a way of emailing you guys who do subscribe to my Patreon my videos a day early. I'm looking into things like Google Drive, maybe something like Dropbox. I'm not sure yet. If you have suggestions, leave them in the comments. I'm still bad at ending videos, so until next time, stay sharp.